Welcome to Lesson 7 of our GoMining Basics course. In the previous lesson, we've learned a great deal about GoMining token and its utility within and outside the GoMining ecosystem. But it's important to say that the GoMining token is not a separate entity and it doesn't exist on its own. It's part of a system called tokenomics. We briefly touched upon it earlier, and now's the perfect time to unpack this concept and see how it really works. In this lesson, you'll learn what tokenomics means and why it matters in crypto, how GoMining's VE tokenomics is built and its components, how epochs and burn and mint mechanics work. Ready? Let's dive in. What's tokenomics? It's a common practice for a crypto project to have its own tokenomics, which is a design of how a crypto project's token works within its ecosystem. In simple terms, tokenomics is the economic model behind a token, which defines how the token is created, distributed, used, and given value. A project's tokenomics answers such questions as: why does this token exist? What makes it valuable? How does the project ensure long-term sustainability? And many others. In a crypto project, tokenomics is upheld by the smart contract, a program on the blockchain that automatically enforces rules and agreements without the need for intermediaries. Smart contracts ensure that the rules of tokenomics, such as how tokens are created, distributed, or burned, are executed automatically, transparently, and without human intervention. Every crypto project designs its tokenomics differently, depending on its goals, ecosystem, and value model. Some projects have a fixed supply, while others are inflationary, creating new tokens over time. Their tokens may serve various purposes, from governance and staking to payments or access to services. Many projects also adopt unique approaches to manage supply. Some burn tokens to reduce circulation, others lock or buy back tokens, while some maintain a fixed number indefinitely. Now, let's see what principles apply to GoMining's tokenomics model, the foundation that keeps its token economy balanced and sustainable. GoMining uses a deflationary token model, meaning the total number of GoMining tokens decreases over time. This is done by permanently removing some tokens from circulation, also known as burning, to help maintain the token's value. There are three core components that make up GoMining's VE tokenomics: epochs, burn and mint cycles, and VE GoMining votes. Understanding these concepts might require some effort on your end, but it definitely pays off once you realize how they shape the incentives and decision-making within the ecosystem. Let's have a closer look at these components one by one. Epochs, the foundation of tokenomics. The entire token economy is divided into epochs that are specific phases that end once a certain number of tokens have been burned. In total, the GoMining tokenomics model is structured into 20 epochs, each with its own mint-to-burn ratio. Each epoch has a target number of tokens that must be removed from circulation. Once that target is reached, the system automatically moves to the next epoch. Epochs are designed so that the burning process and the reduction of tokens in circulation happen gradually and slow down over time. This approach ensures the model remains stable and can function effectively for many years. Over time, this mechanism will bring the number of tokens down from 436,915,240 at the launch of VE tokenomics to 100 million. It might seem complex at first, but once you understand how epochs, burn and mint cycles, and VE GoMining votes interact, you'll see how these elements work together to power GoMining's sustainable, value-driven ecosystem. Burn and mint cycles, the weekly rhythm. Tokens are burned within weekly burn and mint cycles, the engine that keeps the GoMining token economy moving. Each cycle lasts 1 week, from Tuesday 12 p.m. UTC to Tuesday 12 p.m. UTC. During the week, all GoMining tokens used by users to pay for miner maintenance are collected. At the end of the cycle, all collected tokens are burned, permanently destroyed. Immediately after that, new tokens are minted, but the number of minted tokens is always smaller than the number burned. This difference between burned and minted tokens is what makes the model deflationary. With every cycle, the total token supply decreases. The ratio between minted and burned tokens isn't random, it's determined by two key factors. The current epoch, which defines the base mint-to-burn ratio. The voting, where VE GoMining vote holders decide how much of the burned amount will remain permanently out of circulation. This means the GoMining community directly shapes the token's economy, influencing how fast the total supply decreases and how the ecosystem evolves over time. Together, these mechanisms, weekly burning, controlled minting, and community voting, keep the GoMining tokenomics sustainable, transparent, and community-driven. Every Tuesday, newly minted GoMining tokens are distributed in fixed proportions across the ecosystem. 65% to hash power service providers. 20% to VE GoMining vote holders as rewards. 10% as GoMining rewards. 5% to the GoMining team. Now, you might be wondering how all of this is put into practice and monitored. Let's have a look at the mechanics of this process in more detail. How it works technically. Everything runs automatically through smart contracts, ensuring fairness and transparency. When miner holders pay maintenance fees in GoMining tokens, the same amount is reflected in a smart contract wallet. Throughout the week, these tokens accumulate in the burn and mint contract. Every Tuesday, the contract burns all collected tokens and mints new ones. As we mentioned earlier, the exact ratio of burned and minted tokens is determined by the epoch and the governance voting on the burn and mint mechanism. So, GoMining users themselves decide on the percentage of tokens that will be burned and minted, as they have the right to vote on the weekly activation of the burn and mint mechanism. Why it matters. This model ensures that the token supply decreases steadily. The token value has room to grow as demand increases. The ecosystem stays stable and transparent, thanks to smart contracts and community governance. We still have one more key component to explore, GoMining votes, the heart of community governance. But we'll save that for the next lesson. For now, let's take a moment to pause and let all this information settle in. See you in Lesson 8, where we'll dive deeper into GoMining governance, learn who the vote holders are, and discover how their decisions shape GoMining rewards distribution across the ecosystem.